Have you ever noticed that one year your tomatoes are picture perfect, but the very next year, in the exact same spot, they wither and fall prey to diseases? Or perhaps your carrots suddenly turn out small and crooked, even though you followed your usual routine. The culprit isn't you, and it's not your seeds. More likely than not, your soil is simply exhausted. Today, we're going to explore a topic as old as time itself, yet critically important: crop rotation. And I promise you'll learn 5 simple yet game-changing rules that will transform your garden into a self-sustaining system that runs like clockwork. No complicated jargon, just clear, actionable advice for a bountiful harvest. Imagine for a moment that your garden soil is like a bank account. Every plant you grow makes a withdrawal from that account, taking specific nutrients. If you plant the same crops year after year, you're essentially withdrawing the same funds. Eventually the account runs dry and your soil becomes depleted. That's where crop rotation comes in. It's your garden's financial strategy. It allows you not only to spend wisely, but also to replenish those reserves, making your soil better and more fertile year after year. All right, let's dive into rule number 1. It's arguably the most crucial and also the easiest to grasp. Here it is: never plant family crops in the same spot, year after year. That's right, you heard me correctly. Just like people, plants have their own families, or, if you prefer, clans. And within these plant families, all their members share common vulnerabilities, the same diseases, and the same pests. Imagine you're setting up a never-ending buffet for them, running continuously year after year. Let's take a prime example: the nightshade family. This includes our beloved tomatoes, potatoes, eggplants, and peppers. This whole friendly bunch shares some common, formidable enemies. For instance, late blight. The spores of this fungus overwinter perfectly in the soil and on plant debris. If you harvested blight-infected potatoes from a spot this year and then planted tomatoes in the exact same spot next year, you're essentially rolling out the red carpet for the disease. The same goes for the Colorado potato beetle. It absolutely loves potatoes, but won't turn its nose up at eggplants either. By planting them one after another, you're guaranteeing the beetle a continuous food supply. Or consider another example: the brassica family, also known as cruciferous vegetables. This includes all types of cabbage, radishes, turnips, daikon, and arugula. Their shared nemesis are a root-damaging disease called clubroot and the destructive flea beetle, which devours young leaves. If you plant radishes in the next season, where cabbage was growing, you're highly likely to encounter the exact same problems. The pests and disease pathogens will simply overwinter in the soil and gleefully pounce on their close relatives. The whole point of this rule is to break that vicious cycle. When a pest finds something completely different from another family, where its favourite food used to be, it simply has nothing to eat. Its population then sharply declines. The same applies to diseases. Their spores will have nothing to develop on. So, remember this: always find out which plant family your crops belong to, and avoid planting relatives in the same bed for at least 3-4 years. It's simple garden hygiene. Let's move on to our second rule. It's incredibly simple and easy to remember. Alternate your tops and roots. It might sound like a children's rhyme, but beneath this simplicity lies profound agricultural wisdom. So, what does this mean in practice? Tops are all the plants that give us their harvest above ground. Think tomatoes, cucumbers, cabbage, peppers, zucchini, and lettuce. Their root systems typically don't go very deep. Instead, they spread out in the upper, most fertile layer of the soil, usually within the top 20-30 centimetres. This is where they absorb the majority of their nutrients. And roots, as you've probably guessed, are root vegetables. Carrots, beets, radishes, parsnips, and root parsley. Their main goal is to grow as deep as possible. With their long, powerful tap roots, they can draw water and nutrients from depths that the shallow roots of most tops simply can't reach. Now let's put this puzzle together. Imagine last year you grew cabbage in a particular bed, That cabbage worked hard and took a lot of beneficial nutrients from the topsoil. The soil there might be a bit tired or depleted. If you plant another top crop there again, like zucchini, they'll be competing for the same already diminished resources. But what if we apply our rule? Instead of more cabbage, we plant carrots or beets in that spot. These plants, with their deep, pump-like roots, will start drawing nutrients from further down, allowing the topsoil to rest and regenerate. What's more, after you harvest, the channels left by their roots will make the soil looser, improving air circulation and water penetration. So you're not just getting a harvest, you're also actively improving the structure of your soil. It's truly a win-win partnership with nature. Alright, next up. Our third rule is something I like to call a spa day for your soil. We're talking about cover crops, or as they're sometimes called, green manures. If you haven't been using them, you've really been missing out. So, what exactly are they? Cover crops are special plants we sow, not for harvest, but to feed and heal our soil. Popular choices include mustard, phacelia, oats, rye, and clover. The process is simple. You sow them on an empty bed, let them grow until they start to flower, then mow them down and incorporate them into the soil. And that's when the real magic happens. First, they're free, and they're the best organic matter you can get. As their green mass decomposes in the soil, it transforms into humus, the very foundation of fertility. It's like adding several buckets of premium compost to your garden bed. Your soil becomes loose, vibrant, and packed with nutrients. Second, some cover crops are true healers. For instance, mustard releases compounds into the soil that suppress diseases like late blight and scab, and they even repel wireworms. Rye, with its robust root system, suppresses weed growth. It's natural bed disinfection, without a single drop of chemicals. Third, we have the nutrient providers among cover crops. These are legumes, clover, vetch, and peas. Specialised bacteria live on their roots, performing an incredible feat. They capture nitrogen directly from the air and store it in the soil. Nitrogen is the most crucial element for the growth of any plant. By planting leguminous cover crops, you're essentially fertilizing your soil for free with the most valuable and essential nutrient. Incorporating cover crops into your gardening plan isn't extra work. It's the smartest and most effective way to give back to your soil everything it gave you with your harvest, and then some. It's an investment in its health and in your future abundance. So let's move on to the fourth rule, and this one is all about our plants' appetites. That's right. Just like us, some vegetables can be real, heavy eaters, while others are quite moderate. Understanding this allows us to create a smart menu for our garden. Let's divide all our crops into three main groups. The first group consists of the heavy feeders, our most demanding plants. This includes almost all types of cabbage, along with pumpkins, zucchini, cucumbers, potatoes, tomatoes, and peppers. For a good harvest, they need a vast amount of nutrients, especially nitrogen. They effectively deplete the soil of its essential nutrients, leaving it quite poor afterward. The second group comprises the moderate feeders. While they still enjoy a good meal, their appetites are much more modest. This includes root vegetables like carrots and beets, as well as onions and garlic. They don't deplete the soil as severely as the first group. And the third group, perhaps the most beneficial for us, are the modest soil enrichers. These are all legumes, peas, beans, and broad beans. As we've discussed, not only are they low demanding, but they also actively enrich the soil with nitrogen, leaving behind a true treasure for future plantings. Now the logic of crop rotation becomes perfectly clear. The golden rule is, never plant your heavy feeders in the same spot 2 years in a row. That's the quickest way to complete soil exhaustion. An ideal rotation goes like this. In the first year, plant your most demanding crops, after thoroughly enriching the bed with compost. In the second year, the same spot welcomes moderate crops, or even better, legumes. And after the legumes, on that well-rested, nitrogen-enriched soil, you can safely bring back your heavy feeders. This kind of rotation helps maintain the soil's nutrient balance, preventing it from ever reaching a state of starvation. And finally, the fifth and final rule, which ties all the previous advice together into one cohesive working system. The rule is this: create a simple multi-year plan for your garden. Don't be intimidated. You won't need to draw up elaborate blueprints or complex agronomy charts. It's far simpler. The main idea is to stop acting haphazardly and start thinking systematically. The easiest way is to divide your garden into 3 or 4 designated zones or beds. Then simply rotate your crop groups through these zones each year, like a carousel. Let's imagine we have 4 zones. In the first zone this year, we'll plant our biggest eaters, the most demanding crops: cabbage, pumpkins, and cucumbers. Naturally, we'll heavily fertilize this bed with organic matter. The second zone is for root vegetables: carrots, beets, radishes, as well as onions and garlic. These are your root crops with a more moderate appetite. The third zone will house nightshades, potatoes, tomatoes, and peppers. They're also quite demanding, but they have their own specific diseases, so it's best to keep them as a separate group. The fourth zone then becomes our garden's healing and dining area. Here we plant legumes, peas and beans, along with any leafy greens. This group helps the soil rest and replenish its fertility. So what about next year? It's incredibly straightforward. We simply rotate all the groups one position clockwise. Root vegetables move into the eater's spot. Nightshades follow the root vegetables. Then the beneficial legumes move into the nightshade spot. And finally, our most demanding crops return to the rested and legume-enriched soil. This simple 4-year rotation is the foundation of a healthy, thriving garden. It automatically accounts for crop family rotation, the alternation of tops and roots, and plant-specific nutrient needs. It's your personal, clear, and predictable plan for gardening success. And this brings us to the heart of it all, the true magic of crop rotation. Many people think it's simply a way to get a bigger harvest, but in reality, it's something far more profound. When you follow these rules, you're not just moving plants around, you're actively engaging with the invisible world right beneath your feet. You disrupt the life cycles of pests and diseases, all without harsh chemicals. You prevent the Colorado potato beetle from finding its favourite potatoes in the same spot. You stop diseases like late blight from building up their spores in the soil. You become more than just a gardener. You're a true doctor for your land, practicing preventative care instead of treating advanced diseases. Your soil stops being a mere dead substrate. It transforms into a living, healthy organism that works in partnership with you. And that's the pivotal moment. You stop fighting nature and start truly cooperating with it. In essence, crop rotation isn't just a boring list of rules. It's a smart and elegant way to achieve consistently high yields while making your land healthier year after year. It's an investment in the long-term health and future of your garden. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. If you found these simple rules helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more tips. And now, a question for you. What are your secrets for rotating crops in your garden beds? Or maybe you've run into a problem you just can't seem to solve. Share your thoughts in the comments below and let's discuss it together.